Good morning, Algebra 2. Please make sure you've been seated and your correct attendance has been taken. Delta Math is due today, but now is not the time to work on it. If it's not done for whatever reason, there should be some time at the end of the period that you can finish if necessary. But now is the time to take notes. You're taking your own, so have a fresh sheet of paper out, or you can keep adding to our logarithm notes from the past couple of days. You'll be taking these notes on your own by following along with the video. Now for the video, I only have 15 minutes, so I know sometimes I am going fast, but Ms. Burkhart knows that she can pause anytime. You can politely ask her to pause if you need to write the problem or just process. At the end of the notes, there will be a 3-question practice to follow. You'll add that to the same paper as your notes, and then both of those things will be graded for completion at the end of the period. All right, today's lesson is applying those properties that we learned yesterday. So the properties of logs that we saw stemmed from the properties of exponents. We're going to use those to solve logarithmic equations, which is what we started on Monday. So today is a lesson putting Monday and Tuesday together. So let's go back to Monday. Take a moment to pause the video, write both of these down, and make sure that you remember how to solve logarithmic equations. All right, so the first one, on Monday we said that there were 2 types of logarithmic equations. This first one, I see log base 4 on both sides. So we kind of liked those, right? Because if I have log base 4 of this stuff equals log base 4 of something else, I can just set what's inside those logs, called the arguments of the log, equal. So you just set 3x minus 1 equal to 5, and that led you to this nice little 2-step linear equation to get x equals 2. You could plug that back in and verify that, yes, that in fact gives me 6 minus 1, which is 5, equals 5. So that does work. Our second logarithm equation, so this one had 2 logs, so we got to cancel out the log on each side. Okay? Notice this one only has 1 log. So we had a different approach on Monday. When there was only 1 logarithm, our approach was to rewrite it into exponential form. So hopefully you took 4 to the what power? So 4 to the 1/2 power, and that equals what's inside this log. So that equals 3x minus 7. Now, if you're not sure what 4 to the 1/2 power is, you can plug that into the calculator. You could do that by hand, or you could know that that's really just asking for the square root of 4. So that's 2 equals 3x minus 7. And again, we have ourselves this nice little 2-step equation from Algebra 1, right, where I can solve for x. And I would get x equals 3 for this one. So that's what we did on Monday, right? We learned logarithmic equations, and there was either 1 log or 2 logs in the problem. Well, let's start today's examples. Pause if you need to write this down. But this one, I can tell from the get-go, just looks different, mainly because of the number of logs, right? This one has 1, 2, 3 logarithms in it. They're all base 4, so that will always happen, where we have the same base throughout the problem. But we need to combine Monday with yesterday. So yesterday we learned about our properties of logarithms. So when we see that these 2 logs are being subtracted, we can condense those or write that as a single log using our quotient property. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite this side as log base 4 and then take 48 divided by n to write what was separated as 2 logs into 1 single log. See how that's helpful? Look at the other side. That has log base 4 of 6. And now I'm back to where I was on Monday, where I have 2 logs, 1 on each side with the same base. So they're going to cancel. And I can just set what's inside each of those logarithms equal. So you have this equation, 48 divided by what gives you 6. Perhaps you already know that answer by just number sense. Or you can put the 6 over 1 and cross multiply if you need. That would give me 6n equals 48. So n must equal 8. So that's how we'll use yesterday's properties as our first step, and then I can solve like I was on Monday. So our first step today is going to rewrite this in a condensed form. So condense the equation using our log properties. And again, that depends on what operation you see, which property you will use. So let's try another. For this one, again, I see 3 logs in the problem, but 2 on the same side, and these 2 log base 3s have been added, so I know which log property that stems from, and that's from the product property. So I can condense this or rewrite it as a single log. So that is log base 3 of 2x times 7, right, which is just log base 3 of 14x. And the other side of our equation drops down, also log base 3 of 28. And now we're again, just like in the last example, where I have log base 3 on either side, and I can set each of these arguments, or what's inside the logs, equal. And that just leads me to a little one-step equation where I can divide by 14 and solve for x. All right, again, I know I go fast at the beginning, so pause to write and process. And remember, our first step is to rewrite it somehow using our log properties. Now this one's a little different, right? Maybe you don't recognize it as quickly because this one does just have 2 logs, 1 log on each side. But there is still a property involved here, and that is our favorite, the plog property, right? So that 3 times, or that 3 coefficient out in front, can be moved to the power, that's what plog, the P, power property. So that can be written as log base 2 of x cubed equals log base 2 of 8. So we need that to be written as a log base 2 of stuff, log base 2 of other stuff, so that now we can cancel out the log base 2's and we can set x cubed equal to 8. Again, perhaps you can now figure that out in your head because you know what number cubed gives you 8. Or mathematically, if we're looking for a step here, that would be to cube root both sides. And you can take the cubed root of 8 on a calculator to get 2. All right, I'll let you pause and think about this one. Okay, hopefully the first step you notice is you rewrite this, but there are actually 2 properties. The plog property, if you will, would first move this log base 2 and make that 4 squared plus log base 2 of x equals 3. Now, perhaps you said, okay, I know what 4 squared is, so instead of writing that as 4 squared, I can just call that 16. But then I see these logs on the same side with a plus sign in between, so there's also the product property. So we use 2 properties here to now condense this as log base 2, and now I can multiply 16 times x to put that into a single log. At this step, you're recognizing that it's different as well because this one only has 1 log. So instead of being able to cancel log base 2's on both sides, when there was only 1 log, is where we rewrote the problem into exponential form. So this, when I rewrite it, will become an exponential equation. So I would take the base, so 2 cubed, right? 2 to what power equals 16x. And this is where some of us, once we see, oh yeah, we know what 2 cubed is, that's just 8. So if 8 equals 16x, then we see it now, right? There's one step. I can divide by 16 to get x equals, and 8 over 16 reduces, that is half of 16, right? So x would equal 1/2. All right, let's try one more, and as before, please pause and write this down, and then maybe even attempt it on your own first. First step is to use our properties to rewrite. So I see subtraction. I know that I can rewrite this using our quotient property. So this condenses into 1 log base 5. And then I can divide what's inside each log. So I'll write that as x minus 1 over 8. And that's equal to 1. Now this is like example 4, right? So I've used my properties. I've written it now as a 1 log problem. So I need to rewrite this 1 log as an exponential. So that becomes 5 to what power? So 5 to the first equals x minus 1 over 8. Okay, we know 5 to the first is just 5. So 5 equals x minus 1 divided by 8. And we can finish from here with basic algebra, right? Instead of dividing by 8, I can multiply by 8 to cancel out that fraction and get 40 equals x minus 8. Add 1 to the other side and have x equals 41. Okay, so this has been a nice combination of Monday and Tuesday. We'll start actually with Tuesday where we learn the properties. That'll be our first step. So using either the power, quotient, or product property, we can rewrite or condense the problem. And then it'll turn into something from Monday where there's either a log on each side and those just cancel, or there's 1 log and you can rewrite it as an exponential. So it's a lot to put together, but hopefully not too much since it's kind of old stuff just combined. So here's what you're going to try. It says 4 questions, but I lied. It's actually only 3, lucky you. So you're going to add these 3 practice problems to those notes. You're going to try your best. Ms. Burkhart has an answer key, so you can ask her to check. You can talk with a partner, but I need you to be on task and get these 3 done by the end of the period. So she can come around and she'll give you points for these 3 plus your notes that you took. Again, I know it was fast, so if you need to go back and pause for me to go a little bit slower, I will also post the video on Google Classroom for you guys. I'll see you tomorrow.